Welcome back into TalkOff, everybody. It is Friday, January 27th, and Zach, we are down one man today. Fortunately, this is our first episode riding solo, the two of us, without our beloved producer, Jake.
It's a sad day.
It's a sad day. It's a bad day, but, things happen. Jake's at the Colorado Avalanche game tonight, which is sick.
I'm sure he has heavy money on it.
I'm sure he does too. He's just a guy trying to make some money at a hockey game tonight. I was doing some thinking, and if this podcast was a metaphor for sex, and Jake was our condom, we're having a baby. We're trying to have a kid right now.
Why do you say the things that you say? How long have you been thinking about that?
About 90 minutes.
It's got to be more, and you know it. Probably since Jake told us he wasn't going to be on.
We're going unprotected today. It's the two of us against the world.
I guess. I miss Jake.
So we had some Hall of Fame elections, or I should say election. Scott Rowland, newest member of the Hall.
If only I knew anything significant about Scott Rowland, besides what I can look up on Baseball Reference and what I hear from everybody else.
Well, I think it's different for.
Well, I just can't wait to wear
for us.
I can't wait till we're older and the people we grew up with are getting in the Hall of Fame, and I can look back and be like, oh yeah. Well, I remember how good he was.
That's the thing.
It's coming there. It's getting there.
Right. A lot of the guys who we grew up watching are starting to get on the ballot now, and guys like Roland and is it Roland or Roland? This is bad. We're a baseball podcast, and I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's last name.
I think it's Roland.
The back end of his career was when we were starting to become conscious of how the game actually worked.
Yeah,
at a major league level.
I took a look at the numbers, obviously, when I saw that he was on the ballot, and had a great career. He was I think 8-time Gold Glover at third base, 2,000 hits, 300 homers. I mean, he's just a solid all around player, and it's nice to see a solid all around player actually get into the Hall, because we've seen how hard it is for those players to do it. The standards are becoming higher and higher every single year. If we got voters voting for one person or no people, it's becoming stupid. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy he got in. I'm happy someone who didn't get 3,000 hits is in. It's just a solid all around player. But the Hall of Fame vote just sucks. It's not fun.
The criteria is definitely, it's almost unattainable. You have to be too perfect to make the Hall of Fame. And this is the issue that a lot of people have with baseball over other sports, is that it's not necessarily that we're not electing the best players in our game into the Hall of Fame, which, I guess you actually could make that point with the steroid era, which we will be talking about later in the show. But other players, Zach, in other sports, the greats are still getting in, but we don't have this super high criteria that baseball has in other sports. It feels like the writers are almost trying to protect the game a little too much.
It feels like the writers just have too much power. I think they just have too much power, and they can do whatever the hell they want, and it's annoying. It's annoying that you have writers from New York that'll only vote for A-Rod, and writers from fucking wherever that only vote for one guy. It's so annoying. Vote for who should be in. They have 10 votes. Use all 10. There's no reason for you to vote for one person or no people. It's so annoying. I can't stand the Hall of Fame for the MLB. I think it's just the steroid thing is besides the point. Without even thinking about that, the Hall of Fame still is just a joke.
Yeah, so Scott gets in on 76% of the vote he received this year on his ballot. So congrats to him. I'm going to stop you there because later on in our show, we're going to be discussing some Hall of Fame topics. So you might want to hold your thoughts and your complaints about the Hall for a few minutes. But
I
Zach,
guess that's one of your questions.
it might be. So Zach, we did have some moves this week. Not a lot, but there was a few that were sprinkled in among the Hall of Fame chaos that falls in late January every year. Michael A. Taylor traded to the Minnesota Twins. So the Twins get another outfielder. And the Royals get sent over left-handed pitcher Evan Sisk and right-handed pitcher Steven Cruz in return in the deal. So the Twins, man, they're still making moves.
I like it. I'm actually a big fan of this move, and the reason why is we have talked. Honestly, I don't know. We live absolutely nowhere near Minnesota, and nor do I give a shit about the Twins. But we have been talking about the Twins nonstop for the past like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And mostly what we've been saying is that they're extremely injury prone and that they have problems. Getting a fourth outfielder is perfect. Michael A. Taylor is the epitome of a fourth outfielder. He has been on a bunch of teams. He's very good. He's quick. He's a great glove, and I think it's a contingency plan in case Buxton gets hurt like he always does, or Gallo sucks, or Kepler gets hurt like he has been too. So it's a great contingency plan. He's a great fourth outfielder. He has one of the strongest arms in the game, actually, from the outfield, which nobody expects because of how small he is. But he's quick. Not going to hit a lot, but he's a great fourth outfielder to have on the bench. Great pinch runner.
Yeah.
I think it's just a good overall move for the Twins, and I think it just proves that they're looking ahead. They're not looking at April and May. They're looking down the line to September when they're going to need, backup guys to step up when their starters are injured, and when they're trying to make a postseason run, they're going to need guys like Michael A. Taylor to really step up, and I really like it.
Yeah, I agree with this 100%. This is a great addition for the Twins. This adds depth. And like you said, this is a guy who, if unfortunately Buxton does go down in the middle of the season with an injury, you now have a guy like Michael A. Taylor who can slot in at center. So this is a move for depth, but also this is almost an insurance policy against your entire outfield because this guy can play all over the place.
Exactly. It's perfect.
So I love this move by the Twins. The Twins, they just keep getting better, it seems like, every day. Little by little, the team just keeps looking better in that AL Central division. So that division, which we thought would be a two-team race between the Guardians and the White Sox, looks like it's opened up to a three-team stretch now.
Apparently.
Zach, your Red Sox also making a move.
Yeah, you love to see that they actually make a move, and I do want to take some time to talk about the Red Sox and talk about this move. So the Royals weren't done after giving away Michael A. Taylor, and they trade Adalberto Mondesi to the Red Sox. Him and another player that they still, I don't think, have named for Josh Taylor, a reliever, which I think is perfect. Josh Taylor was probably one of the most infuriating people on the Red Sox the past couple of years. Extremely injury prone, great potential. He came up great as a prospect, and he pitched well his rookie season, and just injuries got to him. So I'm happy he's off the roster. We bring in Mondesi now to play shortstop because of the Trevor Story incident, and this is what I have a problem with is Trevor Story goes down with an injury. He's very injury prone, and we didn't want him playing shortstop anyway because he's so injury prone. And look what happened. He has another injury.
Yep.
So Chaim Bloom, and in his geniusness, decides to go out and trade with the Kansas City Royals for a guy who has not played over 100 games before in his 7-year career.
He's done it once in 2019, and it's not the prettiest stat line you'll ever see. But he did have 62 RBIs with a 263 batting average, 102 games.
when this guy came up, dude, he was a top prospect. He was supposed to be one of the second comings. He was so sought after because he is so quick. He in the shortened 2020 season, he led the league in stolen bases with 24 in 59 games. He's so quick. He's a great glove in the field. The problem is the guy just can't stay healthy. He tore his ACL April 26th of last year. He didn't even play a month of baseball this past season before he got injured, tore his ACL. He's not going to be ready for opening day. They say they're optimistic. I'm not optimistic. He's not going to be ready for opening day because they're not going to rush this guy because he's already had so many injuries. I mean, his rookie season, 47 games. 2017, 25, 2018, 75, and then 2019 finally 100. But
essentially, this is a guy who you're taking a chance on for a year, see what he has, and maybe if he performs well, maybe you include him in future plans beyond this season, or maybe this is a guy who's just trying to play 1 year, bet on himself, and go out in the open market and get a deal.
I think that's what it is. He's going to be a free agent after this year, so I think it's just they're just waiting until Trevor Story's ready, and then he'll come back, and then they're waiting for Marcelo Meyer. I think that's what the plan is. I mean, the Red Sox this past week, they had a kind of like a winter meeting where they had fans come, players, ownership, general management, and they let it out on the table. They let the fans know what's going on. They let the fans talk to the ownership. They let ownership talk to the fans, and I watched it, and I didn't like it. I didn't really like what happened. So many boos. John Henry was eating it, and he didn't say a goddamn word. I still don't believe that they care about this team and that they're going to spend money on this team.
I told you, this could be the year that the Red Sox see a decline in home attendance, which sounds crazy from fans. I mean,
I still don't think so. Just because of the stadium.
I understand that, but
and how small it is that their attendance, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be high because the place is so small, so they don't really have to pack it that tight.
So,
you know what I mean?
Right. In 2019, when Alberto played his most games, 102 in a single season, defensively, not bad. If you look at his defensive run saved, in the short term, in the early parts of his career, when he was in his, early parts of his 20s, you're looking at the negatives. So you're looking at a guy who probably is a defensive liability. And now you look at someone who could probably handle the glove pretty well. So honestly, defense and speed are not going to be the issue here. It's going to be the offensive production that's going to be tricky here.
He's produced offensively, though. He's produced when he came up as a prospect, he was loved because he was fast and the glove was there, and he had power as a shortstop. He had so much power when he came as a prospect. It's just the injuries. That's the only thing I'm worried about is the injuries. We are a team who last year saw our entire rotation go down with injuries. Our second baseman went down with an injury. Our center fielder started the year with an injury. Everyone was injured last year. Why would we go get the most injured man in baseball? Go fucking sign Elvis Andrus. There's no way he's demanding that much money. This guy must be demanding $50 million that he's not signed to a team yet.
I'd be pissed too.
I understand. Mondesi was a great prospect, and he was a very good player, but he can't stay healthy. I would rather have someone who has a way lower ceiling and a higher, just staying healthy. If I'd take a worse player for someone who's going to play 140 games. This guy's going to play 60 games this year.
So right now, Baseball Reference has his projected 2023 lines at 235 batting average, 25 RBIs, 7 home runs. Does it give a line for 16 stolen bases? And that's 241 plate appearances.
Yeah, which is 70 games.
That's that's probably 70, 65 games.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. So you're
But you know
you're
what?
banking
All
on him
happy.
to come out and have
All
a
happy
third
here.
first season. So all right, we'll see what happens on that front. Stay positive, Red Sox fans. You never know.
I just have flashbacks of just like 2021, and I'm just like, we were not supposed to be as good as we were, and we went on that run. It just makes me think anything can happen.
Anything still could happen.
Anything can happen, but
Anything can happen. This is Major League
if
Baseball.
if
They're
this
all
team,
professionals.
I'm convinced actually though that if this team stays healthy, they will compete. They may not compete for an AL East title, but they will compete with teams on a day-to-day basis.
By the way,
you may not see it in the record.
Yeah. No,
But
they'll definitely be competitive if they're healthy.
I think they will
if
be a
Chris
team
Sale
that
is
you'd
healthy,
like don't want to play.
if Chris Sale is healthy, the rotation is solid, the bullpen is good.
I can't believe I'm going to a year where I feel
the team
confident
has
about a bullpen.
the team is young and it has a lot of potential. So I'm not going to say they're going to be competitors in the AL East, but they could be trap games for a lot of those teams.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think they're just going to compete on a day-to-day basis. They're going to be just like a tough game. You'll probably win a lot of them, but they'll be
They're going to leave it all out in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll be those gritty guys this year.
Also, if anyone is watching the video right now, they've been seeing me for the past like 10 minutes just double fist an iced coffee and like the tallest glass of water.
It's 7:10. Why are you drinking an iced coffee?
I love iced coffee, dude. I'm a coffee drinker. I don't know what
I understand. I know because you have a hat that says coffee, but
I love coffee.
It's 7:10.
I love coffee. Should we get into the main segment of today?
Your questions.
My part of the questions.
I'm ready. I've been so excited.
Questions from Daz.
That was really cool.
Questions from Daz. All right, Zach. So I prefaced this segment with hold on to the Hall of Fame opinions because there's going to be some Hall of Fame questions here. And you kind of answered the question to begin the show, but I kind of want to hear you reiterate what you had to say again because it was fun to hear you get pissed off. Zach, is the Hall of Fame voting process flawed compared to the other major sports? Specifically, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. Give me your thoughts.
All right, so now I understand what you were talking about. This is exactly what we were talking about before. Yeah, it's extremely flawed. There's too many writers that have too much power and they don't know what to do with it, and they're assholes about it. It ticks me off so much that it's just guys have the ability to vote for one player, and they only vote for them just because they liked them, they played in the town that they write for, or they just were a fan of the player. They just vote for one fucking player. It's so stupid. Vote for who you think should be in the Hall of Fame.
You know what I think?
You got guys with... Go ahead.
I think there's a really strong implicit bias that comes along with baseball writers relating to the era that they were from. So if you have a lot of baseball writers who grew up watching baseball in the 70s and 80s, like they're going to be very old-timey about this game. They're not going to be very progressive with how the game is moving forward. In the sense that there's no shot that those guys will ever vote in anybody like an A-Rod, like a Barry Bonds, like a Roger Clemens. And also the criteria is probably much smaller for guys like Todd Helton or Billy Wagner to get into the Hall of Fame, when in reality, they probably had Hall of Fame careers.
Yeah.
Like a guy I immediately think of off the bat is Carlos Beltran. Like, I don't know if a lot of those old-timey baseball writers are going to be jumping to vote him into the Hall of Fame, when I personally think, non-biased, objectively, I think Carlos Beltran's a Hall of Famer.
See, that's where we disagree, but I agree with you that there's no shot that any writer is voting him into the Hall of Fame.
Well, I think there's going to be people who are going to be voting him in. I just think like the strong majority of baseball writers who grew up in an older era of baseball are not going to view these players like we do, as I'm sure it was when they were growing up and watching people play. So
Yeah.
it's different. I'll move on to the second part of this question, which is my next question. Should A-Rod, Bonds, and Clemens be in? Should there be a separate section for guys who are placed in this steroid era of baseball? So McGuire, Sosa, A-Rod, Bonds, Clemens. Like, should there be a steroid section of the Hall of Fame? I know this has been a topic forever, but my 2 cents on this is steroids, whatever you want. Steroids aren't gonna help you hit a fucking fastball. They're not gonna help you throw 100 miles an hour. You know, steroids don't help you strike a guy out. They're not gonna help you lift it. They might help you hit the ball a little farther, but you're still hitting a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. So, from pure ability wise, you're still a Hall of Famer. I just don't understand the huge backlash these guys get.
You got no arguments here. I couldn't agree with you more. The steroid era, I understand that what people's problem is with it. I get it. They say it's unfair because some people took them, some people didn't, and whatever. But playing the game of baseball is so hard. You still have to hit. You still have to go up there and hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. And then if you don't hit it, you got to look for the 85-mile-an-hour curveball that starts at your eyeballs and ends at your ankles. So forget about steroids. Forget about that. Forget about the muscle and hitting the ball out of the park. Just hitting the ball is so difficult. And the fact that these guys were so good at it doesn't, just because they took steroids doesn't mean they don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, because they absolutely do. Guys like Bonds, Clemens, these guys deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. They had crazy careers. We're talking about some of the best players this sport has ever seen. And just because they took steroids, they're being penalized to be in the Hall of Fame where they belong, where they would be leaders in the Hall of Fame. These are the best of the best that we're leaving out of the Hall of Fame because they were in the steroid era and they took steroids.
It's total bullshit. It's total bullshit.
It's absolute bullshit. I get the politics of it all and whatever, but fuck all that. These guys are deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. They're some of the best baseball players of all time. Like, it's not an exaggeration. Barry Bonds could very well arguably be the best baseball player of all time.
Yeah, Barry Bonds, and I'm just using Bonds as an example because I think he's, like you mentioned, I think he's probably the best player all time. He's got to wait till 2025 to get back onto the ballot again.
I think by then they have to be letting them in.
I think we could have a very different conversation 2 years from now. I would be curious to. I know. Didn't he get like 60 or 50% of the vote? He was gaining votes by the end of his time on the ballot.
Yeah, I think the next time he's on it, he'll get in. I'm hoping, because the fact that he's not in, the fact that he's not in is just, it's stupid.
It's honestly, and this is why I compared it to other sports in the original question, is because we're really the only sport that has to have these conversations. You don't see any other sports neglecting their greats out of the Hall of Fame.
No. You go to the NBA, they are in love with their greats. They're having, NBA 75 whatever ceremonies and shit at the All-Star game last year, and Bill Russell passed away and everyone's wearing a Bill Russell number on their jersey this year. You don't see that in the MLB, really. They don't really give a shit. Like, they don't really care about their legends. Teams care about their legends, but the MLB as a whole is like, what? Who gives a fuck? Because they just dog some of these people out of the Hall of Fame when they deserve it. And why would the players care about the MLB if they're doing that to them? I wouldn't.
It's a
sad. If I'm Barry Bonds, I don't give a fuck about the MLB anymore.
It's a sad, unfortunate stain that our game has, that there's still a wide portion of the people who are really the backbone of withholding the standards of the Hall of Fame and the league itself are very against perhaps some of the best players to ever play this game. So there definitely needs to be some changes on that front before I really feel comfortable in saying that we have a legitimate Hall of Fame, because right now we don't. We don't have a legitimate Hall of Fame right now.
No, we have what they've put together, but that's not the real Hall of Fame.
I think you have to tell the story of baseball in a Hall of Fame. You have to tell the story of your sport. And unfortunately, whether you like it or not, the steroid era is a part of this sport, and it will be forever. So you need to add that part of the sport into the Hall of Fame.
Agreed. 100%.
Moving forward to a different situation within the Hall of Fame. Everyone's aware how popular sports betting is these days. We sports bet. Pretty much everyone we know sports bets. You can't hide from it these days. You turn on the TV, put any pregame show on for any sport out there. They're throwing up betting lines. With this huge addition of marketing for this huge market now to market sports gambling within sports, should we now take another look at Pete Rose in his situation and say maybe he's a guy who needs to get into the Hall of Fame now? Because I find it very, very annoying, and it pisses me off when this happens, when people shit on Pete Rose and they immediately contradict themselves and say, okay, here's an ad by DraftKings. Or let's talk about Pete Rose and how terrible of a person he was because he gambled. Now let's talk about the line for the game tonight.
Well, I think when you talk about Pete Rose with anyone in, who's knows a lot about the MLB and is like deep in the MLB, it's kind of like a touchy subject, and I think it really shouldn't be. I understand people's problems with Pete Rose because the gambling was not just, he didn't just gamble, he was gambling on his own games, and that was the problem.
Yeah. That was definitely I mean, I'm not excusing the behavior. Or condoning it.
That's the issue. But to keep a guy like that out of the Hall of Fame for doing that, I think is blasphemous, because this guy was just an absolute incredible player. You can't deny it. And I don't care that he gambled on his own games. Like, I get it. He served his time for that, and he will live with that. Like, he had to live with that, whatever. But put the guy in the fucking Hall of Fame. He gambled on he should be in before the steroid guys even, because he didn't do anything on the field really. Like, come on.
4,200 hits. 4,200 hits.
It's so stupid that he's not in the Hall of Fame.
And this is again where I go back to that argument where I understand from an ethical standpoint why there needs to be these guidelines to why we shouldn't let somebody in the Hall of Fame. But you can't ignore their greatness, and you can't ignore the history of the game, because whether you like it or not, it was written. In some capacity, Pete Rose has made his indelible mark on baseball.
You cannot, if someone wants to learn about baseball and they go to the Hall of Fame and learn about baseball, they won't be learning it all, because they won't learn about Pete Rose and they won't learn about Barry Bonds, because they're not in there. I'm sure they're in there, but they're not really in there. So
they're not enshrined forever.
Exactly. So it's like, who are these scumbags? Like, they're not in the fucking Hall of Fame. So who are these? Who are these guys?
Speaking of the fact that we're shitting on this now, it would be cool to go in the summer when the whole introduction ceremony happens. That'd be cool.
Have you ever been to Hall of Fame?
I was there when I was like really young. So I remember like a little bit of it, but I'm not well enough to appreciate it.
Same.
I heard it's fun as hell.
It's like, you have to be really into it, I think.
Um, Let me rephrase that. I heard it's fun as hell when like there's a lot of action going on,
Yeah,
like in the summer when everyone's there for the ceremony. But I mean, there's one person being elected this year, so it's not like
yeah, and it's not anybody like
it's not
it's
like
not
it's
like
the you know
it's
what would have been a
Manny
sick year
Ramirez.
was the Ken Griffey Mike Piazza year.
Oh yeah,
That would be
well,
sick.
yeah, that would have been fun. That would have been fun, but unfortunately, we can't go back in time.
Or can we?
We can try.
It probably wouldn't work.
Yeah, why
Um,
not?
Moving on to my next question, Zach.
Move on. Move on to your next question. I want to hear it.
We had some news earlier in the week, which was addressed on our Twitter account. Follow the Twitter account at TalkOffPod. Angels ownership is not selling the team. They have said for now that they are holding on to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They're not selling the team. Does this move by Angels ownership make an Ohtani trade feel more likely or less likely now that ownership is halting for a little bit?
I love this question, by the way.
Thank you.
I don't think it definitely does not make a trade less likely.
I don't think it makes it
And I
less likely either.
and I honestly don't really think it makes it more likely either. I think it's just it's really the same. I think a trade could happen, but I don't think they're going to actively shop him. I think I think them not selling the team 100% means that he is going to be gone, whether that's in free agency or that's a trade before the deadline. Do I think they should trade him? No, honestly, because I think whatever they get is probably going to be bad because we don't know what kind of haul he should get. And obviously you should get players for him and not let him walk, but
Well,
I
we
would
talked
test
about
free
this earlier.
agency with him, but
We talked about this earlier in the off season about how no matter what trade the Angels make, if they do make one for Ohtani,
it's going to be
it's
bad.
going to be criticized. It's going to be
Yeah.
criticized no matter what because this guy is a once in a generation player. So no matter what, it's going to be criticized.
I think this just 100% means that will not be a Los Angeles Angel come 2025 or 2024.
I would say I would be leaning towards yes, he won't be an Angel, but I think by ownership not going anywhere, I think there's deep down a thought within the organization that maybe we can keep him long term. Because there's no way they would stay if they didn't think that this guy wasn't going to at least entertain the thought of staying.
I don't know. I think he wants out, and I think he might have stayed for new ownership, depending on who that ownership was.
Yeah,
But I think he wants out. So
I would
you know what?
probably.
I actually think I don't think anything's more likely or less likely, but I still think there is a definite possible chance. But about near, oh my God, can I talk? Near the deadline, I think there's definitely a possible chance that the Angels get a lot of calls about Ohtani, and I don't think they're going to hang up to all of them. I think they're going to listen to quite a few, and they're going to think about quite a few.
You know what this reminds me a lot of, Zach? This reminds me, and I'm not comparing apples to apples here on this, but this reminds me a lot of the Nationals Bryce Harper situation when there was a lot of talk around the deadline about how they should probably have moved on from him, and he was really close to being traded to from the Nationals to the Astros. Really, he was damn close to being traded to the Astros. So honestly, at this rate, I'm not really sure what you do if you're the Angels. I think the smart move is at this rate is you need to have a set in stone plan whether you're going to keep him or you're not, and you have to make up your decision now because time is ticking, and the longer you wait, you risk injury, you risk a tough market in free agency if it even lasts that long. So it's going to be I don't know, man. This Angels team they should be good. It really like I feel so bad for Angels fans because like
Oh, dude, it grinds my gears that they're not good.
you have the two best players of our sport on your team right now, and you can't even make the playoffs.
It's embarrassing, and it's
It's an
not even like make
embarrassment.
the playoffs. It's like come close. You can't even come close. Like they're You have the two best players of our generation, arguably, and you are the laughing stock of the league, honestly, because of how bad you are.
Yeah, yeah, you've turned into a meme.
Literally, their team is a meme, and it all honestly, most of it started with the Anthony Rendon signing.
How so? I'm curious.
As soon as they signed Anthony Rendon,
Hmm.
everyone, all eyes were on the Angels because they
Right.
gave him way too much money for having a very good season the season before they signed him. He had a great season, so they went out and they got him, and they gave him way too much money. Since then, everyone has seen the Angels as clowns because that's been the worst deal in pretty much MLB history because he has played maybe 50 games for them and they haven't been a good 50.
Yeah, his last 3 years, 4 years in Washington, he was really good. I mean, won a World Series there, almost won an MVP in Washington too. But the fall off, the cliff, like the decline since coming to Anaheim is bad, real bad.
That's why everybody talks about the Angels because they're locked into this contract with for so much money for someone who does not produce anything.
And they were locked into the Pujols deal for a while too. So
Yeah.
and you know what? You know what's interesting about this team is it feels like they almost have to sign. They have to throw like an exorbitant amount of money at these players. When in reality, like you play in California, you're not far from Los Angeles. You're not in Oakland. You're not in Cleveland. Like people shouldn't be afraid to go to Anaheim to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know if it's because, Mike Trout's there, people don't want to go there, get in his way or something. I don't know.
Hmm.
But all I know is I think Otani is going to be gone. If not by the end of this season, by the start of next season, he'll be gone.
Let me move on to the last question here. Excuse me.
You're excused.
So, Manfred of recently has talked a lot about expansion to 32 teams. He's talked a lot about it.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that and if expansion, which it looks like it's probably coming in the near future, where should it happen? And honestly, when should it happen? Because we always hear about how we're trying to get more people interested in baseball, and it seems like an easy solution to that is to put it in more people's neighborhood. Put it right in their backyard. Expand the game and branch it across the country. So Zach, where would you like to see expansion? And if so, where would you like to see two teams added?
All right. Great question, by the way. I think this is something not a lot of people talk about, actually, and I think it's going to come soon, and I hope it does come soon. I'm absolutely on board with expanding the league. I think, I'm really interested to see if it does happen, how it's going to work, how they're
I
going
would
to,
be shocked.
draft guys if they do it the same way, NHL teams have done.
Right. I would be shocked if we didn't get an expansion team by 2026.
I do think it's coming soon. And you ask where I think it will happen. There's two places I got for you. One of them is obviously the mecca of new sporting teams, Las Vegas.
Yeah. I
Now,
mean, that's the immediate.
Las Vegas is interesting because it's the immediate thing that you think of because a lot of expanded teams have gone there. The Golden Knights, the Raiders, teams are going to Vegas, and a lot of teams want to go to Vegas. I do think that the only problem with Vegas is there would probably need to be a dome because it would be way too hot for day games.
Right. Well,
The heat is just too much there, I think.
Here's the deal with Vegas, and Manfred has come out publicly and said that 2023 is a massive year for Vegas for baseball, for the main reason that the Oakland Athletics, this is the year where they could break their relocation fee.
Yep.
And have it be waived if they decide to move to Vegas this calendar year.
I do think a move to Vegas is a possibility for Oakland too, because it's Oakland. They get nothing in Oakland, and I do think they should move to Vegas. But you said 2, so I do have another one, and I think you would appreciate this. Nashville, Tennessee.
I fucking love that. Yes.
I think Nashville needs a team. I think they need a team. They got the Titans down there. They got, the Memphis Grizzlies, but I think Nashville needs a baseball team. I think it would be great down south to have a baseball team. I think either that or maybe like New Orleans. I think something in the South is what we need. Something in that area where, college baseball is bred. Vanderbilt's in Tennessee. I think it should be in Tennessee. Vanderbilt is a powerhouse when it comes to college baseball. I think Nashville would be a perfect spot for an expansion team.
Dude, so I don't know how much you've been up to date on this, but if you have a little downtime, and anyone else listening to this, go to MLBmusiccity.com. So there's a whole, and I'm not really up to speed on who's running this. I'm assuming it's people in the Nashville community. Basically, they're trying to, their whole brand is represented around the Nashville Stars, which at one point was a baseball team in the Negro Leagues. And some of their players that they had, like listen to some of the players that have played in Nashville: Satchel Paige, Jackie Robinson, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron. You're talking about four legends on this organization. And now if you bring this team back to life and add it into this city's culture, I might have a second favorite. I might have a new second favorite team in the league.
That's what honestly. I'm saying. You're opening the league to so many people who support college baseball teams or support teams that are not in their state. They want to support teams in their state. I mean, speaking for me and you, both live in Connecticut. We have no team. If a team moved to Connecticut, maybe not moved, but if they added a new team in Connecticut, I would probably become a fan of that team. Maybe they wouldn't be my favorite team, but I would definitely become a fan, and I would go to their games, and I'd probably buy shit just because I live in the state. It's perfect idea to put a team in Tennessee where the market is high for baseball, with Vanderbilt being there, and there's no team.
Yeah, and so on this website, they do make it clear that their goal is to bring a team to Nashville, whether that happens to be starting a new franchise or relocating a current franchise to Nashville. The vision is just to build a stadium, get people there, create a sense of community around this team. Like, dude, this would be so cool.
It would be so cool.
This would be so cool. In like, the city of Nashville is, in my opinion, one of the greatest places on this planet. So adding another sports team to that, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. I'm so fired up.
I think
Manfred, please put a team in Nashville. Please.
We need it. I would
bring
love
baseball back to Nashville, please.
Was that 5?
That was 5. What did you think of those? You like those?
I liked them. You went a different route than me, and
Thanks,
I liked it. I liked it.
Thanks, man. Should we move into some Florida Man Friday?
Let's do it. My absolute favorite.
Powered by Riverside.
So that was our pick song for that. We don't have producer Jake here today.
I was really hoping you weren't going to point it out. I wasn't going to. I thought we were just going to play it off.
No, I think we have to. I think this is a testament to how good Jake is.
This is a testament to how good Jake is.
This is a testament to how good Jake is and how
All right.
This is why I'm not in control of this.
The people got to give us a break, all right? You know, it's your first time, Chris. They're proud of you. I bet they're all proud of you. There you go.
I felt like I deserved that. I felt like
you
I
did.
deserved that.
Yeah, you deserve that. You know what else you deserve? You deserve to go first on Florida Man Friday. Go ahead.
All right, so my Florida Man Friday is drunk Florida man winds up arrested over bacon. And Zach, you know me, I love bacon.
Who doesn't?
So this guy was intoxicated at a Waffle House, which is just not out of the ordinary. And when the officers arrived, the man was yelling at the staff about his order, saying, in quote, "You better cook that fucking bacon right." Whoa,
was
man.
it under
Settle
or
down.
overcooked?
Settle down there. According to the Tampa Free Press, he was also yelling at the workers and threatening them. When the man asked by officers to come outside, the police said he refused to leave and was ultimately arrested and tased, charged with disorderly intoxication.
People
Just
go
don't be-
crazy.
Just don't be mean about bacon, man. Bacon's
People go
supposed to be
crazy
happy.
for literally anything. For
Bacon
the
is supposed to
stupidest
be-
shit.
Bacon is supposed to be a happy thing. Be
Waffle
nice to-
House
be
is
nice to
supposed to
people.
be a happy. It's supposed to be
It's
a happy
supposed-
place.
Well, I've been to Waffle House once, and I was at Waffle House in Florida, and literally, like, I've never been served by nicer people in my life. And it was
Supposed to be
the food was
supposed to be
unreal.
a great place where you're supposed to go and eat a meal and live your life and just live and be happy.
Be happy.
Don't yell about bacon.
This world needs more love and more bacon, Zach.
That's true. You know what else it needs? More
does it
Florida
need?
men. More Florida men.
Let's hear it.
So, the title of my article, not a long article, but it's definitely an interesting one and an interesting title. Florida man stole truck, attempted to break into military base to warn of fight between aliens and dragons. So
Wait, can you repeat that one more time? He was
I will repeat it for you. Don't worry. Florida man stole a truck
Yep.
and then attempted to break into a military base to warn of fight between aliens and dragons.
I mean, to be fair, if that was a situation where it wasn't the boy who cried wolf and this was real, like, that's off to him for warning people.
If it was him, like if that was real, props to him. Good job.
Good
But
job.
it wasn't. And my dude got it.
Did you fact check that it didn't happen?
Everyone, the article says it didn't happen.
Okay, then.
So
I'll
he
believe
did get arrested because he stole that truck,
it. Okay.
and he got charged with grand theft. And I feel bad for the guy. Clearly, there's something wrong with him. I don't believe they found any evidence of dragons.
Okay. Well, that was my main concern out of the article because we're skipping over the major part here that we might have discovered dragons.
I don't believe there was any evidence of aliens either. So I think
Well, there's definitely aliens, Zach.
maybe some acid. Other than that, I have no idea.
We're a non-acid podcast.
Well, we don't live in Florida, so it's okay.
Okay, fair enough. Should we now get into some picks?
Yeah, let's get in picks.
Let's get into some picks.
Whoa! What is this? Yeah! Apparently we got new picks music. I want
should we call
absolute.
producer?
No,
should
no.
we call
I
producer Jake and ask him for?
No,
a
he's
live
at the
pick
game.
today?
He's
Oh,
at
he
the
is
game.
he
He's
is-
at
he
the
is
game.
Well, it's a time difference.
I want everyone out there to know that before we recorded, producer Jake said, "If you don't want to do the music, I can just do it post." And
No,
Chris,
I wanted to
Chris,
do it.
before the episode, decided that he was okay doing it. He could do it, and this is twice that he's been wrong. But we still love him. Give yourself a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause. There you go. It'll be okay. Producer Jake will be back next week. Thank God.
Thank God. Thank God. Producer Jake will be back.
Would you like to go
Zach.
first with your pick, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay, you go first.
My first pick
God, I miss
is
Jake.
Providence money line against Villanova. I'm taking the Alumni Friars again, baby. They're on the road against Villanova, and Villanova is really not that good this year. I did take Villanova last Friday, won off of them, and now I'm going against them again, baby. I'm rolling with the Friars money line this Sunday against Villanova.
Nobody likes the Friars. Nobody. Just losers. But real men, like the Marist Red Foxes, that's right, we're going back to it another Friday. Roll Foxes, the alma mater, going up against Rider, minus 2.5. Rider's minus 2.5. Marist plus 2.5 is my pick. They're going to win. They're at home. They're the best team ever. My alma mater. I went to college there. I love it. I love it. Their basketball team's the best. 7-11 this year. What a team. I'm going to win. I'm definitely not on a 3-game losing streak in picks. I love it.
Wait, who? Rider? What? What's that? What was it?
Marist
No.
plus
who did they
2.5.
play? Who did they play? Sorry,
Rider.
I barely know her.
I knew you were going to do that, actually, and I just went. I literally let you do it, and I knew you were going to do it. I hate you.
Now we're getting back into the most unlucky segment in the absolute world.
Yeah, honestly, people should just stop listening right now.
Yeah, honestly, just skip this part. Go on about the rest of your Friday. Have fun. Do your thing this weekend because we're probably not going to hit this.
Depressing. What was the number, 28?
28.
28's the number today for roulette, and there's absolutely no shot that we're going to get it because
Can
we
you tell
suck.
me when we're spinning? Because I want to add the drum roll. I think that'd be really cool.
I will tell you when we're spinning. All right, drum roll.
All right, we are spinning. We are spinning. We are spinning. We are spinning.
0.
And it's 0, which I don't think we've gotten before.
Which, oh, you'll never guess what's right next to 0.
Shut up. Is it 28?
It's fucking 28.
Oh, my dude. This is every time.
Every
this
time.
happens now.
This is stupid.
We're on a streak. We're on a
I'm
streak.
not doing this anymore. It's because we're doing it on fucking DraftKings. That's why. They're playing games with me.
This is bad.
This is stupid. No, it's not bad. It's just dumb.
All right, everybody. Well, that is our show for this Friday. Join us back on Tuesday, where we will. Well, this is going to be a good weekend. I'm feeling it. We've got Championship Sunday this week for football, college hoops. Some good hot college hoops games on this weekend. Maybe we'll have some more baseball.
Some college hoops.
Maybe we'll have some more baseball news.
Hopefully, we get some final World Baseball Classic rosters getting out pretty soon.
Yeah, everybody, just remember, you're one day closer to opening day than you were yesterday.
Yeah, we are. Thanks, everybody.
Love you guys.